of frustration, full of despair. From years of hurt, disappointment, and relegation. Two British football fans have had enough. Canary bird Elliot Holman and Wanderer Henry Hewitt are in search of glory, pride, passion, in search of silverware. And they found Major League Soccer.
Here we go then. Season 4, Episode 3 of the MLS UK show. I'm Elliot Holman.
And I'm Henry Hewitt.
We are celebrating. We've found pride, passion, glory and silverware. All that to come and more.
Can I have one?
There we are.
Get one in early. Right, straight off the bat, let's just go for it. Get in. Come on. First get in the new studio. Norwich City, champions of the Championship, and Bolton Wanderers are promoted from League Two.
Yeah, not as impressive as the Championship, but considering that we didn't have a team.
All things considered, I think
almost went out of business 2 years ago. Didn't have a team. We signed 21 players this year. UK football problems. I've got to point that out. Don't really have that case in MLS.
No, that's what I tweeted the other day. I was watching Norwich lifted the Championship trophy, and at the same time it was agonising times at Derby as they were in the last couple of minutes, needed the win, we're going to go down to League One, playing Sheffield. It was all on the line, and I just thought, this is the only thing missing from MLS for me. And let's not get into it, but I just thought if we could somehow make it work, how good would it be?
It made great TV. Great TV. And the Bolton game was on after it, so it was a brilliant day. Welcome to the new episode. That'll be it now. Can we have one more get in for Norwich and Bolton's success?
Get in! Come on!
There we go. Now we've got a summer of heartbreak, disappointment, but Orlando and Atlanta.
Isn't it funny how we've both suffered so much with our teams over basically most of our lives? Yeah. We've suffered with Norwich and Bolton, and that's where the intro for the podcast came from.
Yeah.
We're 4 years in now, and in the last 4 years, Daniel Farke has led Norwich City better than anyone ever has. We've won 2 championship trophies. We've had a year in the Premier League. We're now going back to the Premier. I've never seen things so good.
Yeah.
And I just look a bit stupid now because start of the intro on the podcast, I'm like, oh yeah, no. Norwich are down, Bolton are down, it's all doom and gloom. And it's actually been fine, really.
Well, that's it now for UK Football Talk. But if you know the podcast and you know us too, you'll hopefully allow us to indulge in our team's success.
And how sweet it was that Daryl DK didn't start for Barnsley on the final game of the season when they took Norwich on, because I know that we probably wouldn't have won that game if he did.
No, good luck to Barnsley in the playoffs, and Orlando have allowed him to play in them, hasn't he?
Oh, how disappointing as well that DK could have met Jordan Morris in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Swansea and Barnsley are both in the playoffs.
And Ariola.
Yeah. And it's only DK. DK's the last man standing. Before we do the game with a change of name, couple of things, I say a couple. The last podcast went a bit crazy. I'm dead chuffed, and thank you so much. But so many people getting in touch to talk to us about various things. So there's a few things I need to clear up before we proceed. Okay. I had to make a note. First of all, Beerschot. They're a Belgian team, not a Dutch team.
Right,
we were corrected on that. The DC United manager was at Beerschot.
I only realised after it because I mentioned it. I mentioned it in episode 1, I think. I can't remember, but I've mentioned it and I knew that, and I forgot within 2 weeks.
Also, Austin do have a USL team. I think you may have said that it's their only sports team or some professional sports team.
Yeah, so
I think USL is still professional.
Well, I've seen some of their games. It's a good league, but they have the moments.
Also, I'm going to hand over to you for this one. Scottish football.
Yes, we made a comment about Scottish football. It was a bit of banter,
tongue in
really.
cheek.
Yeah, but no, we love Scottish football. My brother Ted, he has a share in Stenhousemuir. It's a Scottish second division team, I think.
The most random thing I've ever heard of.
I know, yeah, but he's happy, he supports them.
He's into his MLS as well. Is he looking for a stake in Orlando or Atlanta? Has he got a team?
I don't think he does have a team. No, he's. Speaking of that, though, we got a message asking who could we follow. We always getting messages from people saying new to the podcast, new to MLS, who should I follow? And whenever we retweet it, it just goes off. Everyone wants people to support their team.
The recruitment is on point in MLS. So with that, the winning team, I understand, was Orlando City, because they actually tweeted themselves and said, come join us.
Yeah, which is nice, actually. Orlando City still don't follow us, so that'd be nice. But no, it's good to see that they want to engage with the UK fan base, because, I mean, you support them. But they do have a lot of fans over here in the UK, so it's nice that they're engaging. I want to get the name. It was Ben Jarman. So welcome, Ben, to the MLS UK show.
Sorry, Ben Jarman or Benjamin?
No, Benjamin Jarman. That's probably why he's Ben.
Benjamin Jarman. Wow. Ben Jarman, welcome to Orlando City. Make sure you follow Orlando City UK, and congratulations on getting a tweet from the club, by the way. I mean, more than we've ever got.
That's true. On the last episode as well, this is going to be something we're doing throughout the series. We're gonna, whatever the catchphrase is from the episode, which last week was,
"Can I have one?"
of Poppy talking about Inter Miami's tracksuits. We want you to leave a rating on your podcast provider using "Can I have one?" So at the end of this episode, we'll think of a new one. But we've had quite a few, actually. So thank you if you've left a rating. Remember, one rule and one rule only.
5 stars, LA Galaxy style.
And let's see. So we've had Wyatt12345 who says, "Hey, I'm a big fan of the show and of MLS. Not doing too good right now, being a Minnesota fan."
Ooh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I love listening to the show at my high school. Keep up the great content. So thank you.
I said I wanted to hear where people were listening as well, so that's good. I like that.
He did put in the subject of it. Can I have one? We've got Otto Saab, I think that says, "Yes, please. Can I have one?" That was 5 stars. Ramble Ho on this was on. We can now see our US ratings.
Yeah, we've never been able to see them before.
No, we figured out how you can do it. So those two are US, these are UK. He's saying, "Great podcast, lads." He says, "New MLS follower, new listener. Thanks for the fun podcast to help me get into MLS. Can I have one?" And then Benedict THFC, which Spurs, yeah. "Great MLS podcast." He says, "New listener, support Tottenham and wanted to get into MLS for a bit more football and hopefully some more trophies." Am I right? Well, that's why.
What do you mean more trophies? Do you mean a trophy?
Yeah, that's why we got into it. He uses the hashtag "Can I have one?" I think he's going to be a Philadelphia Union fan.
Love that. Love that we've got new people joining the MLS UK family. One final thing to address. Paul got in touch. He says, "The season doesn't start until I hear your intro on your podcast." So I love that. Thank you very much. Whether it's at 1 times, 1.5 times, or 2 times. But he also said, "Where's the beer fridge?"
You mentioned on episode 1 that in this new studio we've got, there's a TVs on the wall. There's a brand new thing that is on your desk every week, if you've noticed that. And there's also a beer fridge. The
beer fridge is out of shot. It's just down here to my left. And so the answer is yes, there is a beer fridge. There is also, and this looks bad now because I've basically finished it, there is a beer keg. You can actually pour a pint. So so cheers. Cheers for your message, literally, Paul. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we are celebrating. This is the last time I mention it. We are celebrating. So,
oh, that was good. That get in.
Tastes nice. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can do. You can either email us at hello@mls.show or tweet us at MLS UK Show.
Yeah. Shall we do a game with a changing name?
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for getting in touch. My DMs on Twitter are full. I love that people have the foresight to send them to me, not to the MLS account, because you'll obviously then see them. I have got so many. I've been sent so many, so it's great. Thank you so much. This is today's player. I'm slightly surprised I haven't done this one before, but I've checked the list, and we definitely haven't. This isn't going to be a situation like the one I did. Well, I did twice within a few weeks.
Michael Mancian.
Yeah. Okay, so this player has played in the UK and in MLS. I'm going to read you their career path. You've got to work out who it is, okay? They started their career at a club called Victoria. Now, to avoid a beer shot situation, it's in Honduras.
Oh, right. Okay. Brilliant.
They also played for Olympia.
Where are they?
Oh, it's also Honduras.
Right, okay.
There's probably people screaming at their YouTube screen or down their car stereo going, it's in Honduras.
Yeah. Well, if I talk about the Honduras League, we'll probably have someone from Honduras who tweets us. So quiet.
They also played for one club in the UK, which I don't want to give you unless I have to. I'm going to be honest.
Right.
Okay. Before they moved to Hull City, they played 35 times for Hull.
Right.
And they've also played for Colorado Rapids, FC Dallas, and Houston Dynamo.
Right. I think I know.
Do you see why I didn't give you the other club?
Because I think that club who you're talking about, are they geographically close to Bolton?
Yes.
Right, okay. So if you don't know, you will have to Google, while you're listening to this, Bolton and nearest towns to Bolton.
It's been enough Bolton chat now. Come on.
If you do know, get in touch with us. Again, tweet us at MLS UK Show. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can write it in the comments. And people have been doing that because they can timestamp where you're up to. And then you can tell us. And we know if you're lying. We know if you go to the end, get the answer, and come back and timestamp going, oh, it's blah, blah. We know that.
Before we get into discussing some of the results recently, I just wanted to talk about some of the trains that we were on. Do you remember the first couple of episodes we were like, oh, yeah, I like the look of their roster. Yeah, started really well. Yeah, I'm on that train. Yeah. So the two trains that we were mainly on, Cincinnati and Minnesota.
We'll talk about how Minnesota did at the weekend and how Cincinnati are doing next. Well, let's have is this the right thing to say? Let's just have a word from our sponsor.
We cross live to our sponsor.
The MLS UK Show.
Yes, shout out to the guys at soccer90.com who have now got in stock merch from every single MLS team, including some of the expansion sides joining the league in the next couple of years, and a new Austin FC scarf as well.
Yeah, this is perfect. If, like Ben, you are someone who has just finding MLS and wants to get a new team, you can get kitted out in the merch straight away. Go to soccer90.com, use the code MLSUK at the checkout, and you get 25% off.
And keep listening for details on how you could win something from soccer90.com a little later on in the podcast.
Elliot Holman, Henry Hewitt, MLS UK Show.
So it's been another busy week in MLS, another weekend full of action, great goals, and there's no place to start than the very start with talking about great goals and RSL versus San Jose. The fact that Ruben Rubin scored an amazing overhead kick, and yet he's not the headline maker. It was Wando time. But, I mean, first of all, what a goal that was.
Absolutely unbelievable. I think not just that goal, but all of the spectacular finishes that we've seen so far. It shows that not only is MLS really entertaining, but there really is so much talent in this league. There really is. Yeah. Think about the exports that we've seen leave and come over here to Europe, but also each team's got someone who can deliver that moment of quality. We joke about Nani. He's consistently on it at the minute, but that particular finish, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I was almost just stood up as a proud MLS fan, just like, yeah. And Bryony, my other half, was watching with me, and I just said, look, this is what it's like. Like, it's such a great league to watch. I understand completely why so many people are getting into it, and maybe their teams annoyed them a little bit by trying to break away and start a new European Super League, or maybe they're just going for a bit of a tough time like you were with Bolton a few years ago. But you just look at these players and think, I'm witnessing the start of something. That's what it feels like.
Dead right. And even just the whole, I was watching it the weekend, and it was really beneficial for us because the kickoff times were actually decent times for us. But every goal that went in with crowd noise and crowds there, and I know, Vancouver didn't have a crowd, but like the majority, the US teams, it just adds to it. And football and soccer is back. And these moments that you could have a goal of a season competition now, and there's only been 4 games.
There's been some seriously good goals.
Yeah.
Like, seriously good. Even, I want to highlight some of the goals like the Frankie Amaya for New York Red Bulls. All right, it's not going to be up there with your overhead bicycle kicks, but even that, it's just a lovely finish. It's that quality that I'm talking about. That there's so many more technically gifted players in MLS now. And I tweeted last night because we were watching. Obviously, I was being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but kind of want to marry these 2 points together. Is we were watching Miami v Atlanta, and you look at Gonzalez Perez, right? And I joked saying I don't know what sport he's playing, but it's not soccer, because that sort of rough and ready Sergio Ramos style, obviously at a slightly lower level. I just think on the flip side of that now, we're shaking off the retirement league opinion, and it's a very lazy headline, an opinion to throw now, because you can't have been watching MLS if you're saying it's a retirement league. But just so much quality on board. We're seeing teams start to play out the back. Love that. Really, really in a great place at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, a cynic would say that both Red Bulls goals were gifted to them by Toronto bad defending. MLS may have moved on from the retirement league tag, but it hasn't moved on from the bad defending tag.
It really hasn't yet. Not yet.
Elsewhere, we had Vancouver v Montreal. Now, it's such a shame because the Canadian teams are not playing at their home grounds, but still, this was a really good performance by Vancouver, a side who have... they were one of the sides that we felt at the start of the season might struggle, and just results like this are going to keep the Red above water. They're 4th in the conference, and you never know. I know, we've got to be careful. There's only 4 games in the league.
You don't want to be jumping on the Vancouver train because it'll derail very quickly.
But it's a good start.
Yeah, and also looking at the likes of Houston, Vancouver, Houston, they're up there and they're above some very high-profile teams that a lot of people would have picked way, way ahead of them. So a strong start, points on the board, which is important. It allows them to, get their heads down and focus now, and there's no stress. You look at teams like Cincinnati and Minnesota, who we'll come to. The pressure's immediately on. Yeah. It really is, especially since you have spent money. So it's great that teams like Vancouver have got those points on the board early doors. And I'm looking forward to seeing more.
It was kind of a mini rivalry week this weekend because we also had Dallas versus Houston, 1-1, and fair result in my opinion. And both sides kind of, I know we were saying before the season that Houston might struggle, but I think these are both the sides that could have aspirations for just sneaking in the playoffs if they do well.
Yeah, Dallas as well. I mean, wasn't an amazing start, was it? In the first few weeks, so they'll be glad not to have, speaking frankly, they'll have been glad not to have been pumped by Houston. It's just not what you want. It was a tough start. They struggled a lot. Thinking back to the San Jose game, for example. But yeah, it's like I say, it just eases the pressure a little bit. Portland last night struggled against Seattle. I say struggled. They could have done okay if Valeri, your mate, could score a pen. But that surprised me as well. And I just think that's when the doubt and the panic starts to creep in a little bit. Do you think?
Yeah, well, I think that shows the difference at the moment between Portland and Seattle, that Seattle have gone and won that game. Yes, they could easily have lost it, but they are at a stage where they, in my opinion, are the top team in MLS just because the consistency that they've got. Like, I know they beat LA Galaxy last week and it was a bit of a convincing win in the end, but they've got consistency where they will get wins when they need to. They go to Portland, 2 penalties conceded. Okay, they get lucky. Whatever you think, it's lucky when someone misses a penalty, but they've gone and won the game, and then they've proved why they will probably be at the top of the conference again. Yeah,
I kind of felt that there would be a lot more goals than there was this weekend. I've watched a few 0-0s over the last couple of weeks, and almost been surprised because I think this is the time where you expect mistakes, especially at the back, and you expect sort of some expansive football, early on. But I've been surprised at a few 0-0 draws, which is very unlike MLS.
Yeah, but they have been on weekends that don't follow, or a new episode of the MLS UK show doesn't follow those weekends.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you are a old school listener to the podcast, you'll know that any 0-0s we then boo that because we didn't join MLS. We didn't follow MLS to get 0-0s, so we will boo the team throughout the episode. Elsewhere on Nashville won, Philadelphia won, which is a good win for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They've started the season slowly. Good.
Still in the Champo League.
They still, the only team in the Champions League. We had
that's changed quickly since the last episode. We won't go into that.
5 MLS teams in the quarterfinals, only 1 in the semi-finals, and that is because they played another MLS team. Columbus, we'll talk more about Columbus later on.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But 3-1 against DC, first win of the season. DC were poor in my opinion, but Columbus they're unbeaten.
Yeah, that's the point. And Columbus are one of the teams that I wanted to talk about. When you look at 0-0s, I was amazed that they had that 0-0 game. But like you say, unbeaten. And that's kind of what I'm clinging on to in the Orlando camp as well, because I know that we've got players to come back and strengthen. So at this stage of the season, I think for a team like Columbus, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Speaking of Orlando, and I know you love to and you will do, but I'll just mention New York City. Castellanos, fifth player in MLS history to score in his first 4 games of a season. It's impressive.
He's a player. He really is a player. And it was interesting hearing the American commentary, which we got for that game on Free Sports over here. They take the American commentary, and they were saying that City Group desperate to keep him not just at New York, but within the group, because they know he's a huge talent. I know it was a penalty that he scored. I don't think I'm.
Just look at the Seattle-Portland game. You need to score your penalties.
Put your pens away. New York City had a chance to win it at the end as well. Khalese made a great save. But I feel like I'm not being biased in saying that New York didn't particularly create anything else in that game. I think it's very much all Orlando, but I don't mind the draw. I think they earned it in the end. But I'd like to see them creating a lot more for him, because I think he's such a talent. When he's not hot-headed and he's just taking his chances, easily one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
And I think he's maybe earned himself a reputation for being a bit of an annoyance rather than his, pure finishing ability, because he's got so much talent. So yeah, I'm watching him like a hawk, because they need to hang on to him big time.
Speaking of annoyance, another good goal for Nani this weekend.
Get in!
No, good finish again. Who was it the week before? You played Cincinnati, didn't you?
Yeah, we won 3-0 against Cincy, and Nani, I messaged you tonight because the goal he scored against Cincinnati was literally the exact same goal he scored at the game you went to. You've literally seen him do that exact goal before against New England. But yeah, I'll be honest, Nani's kind of saving us at the minute, because we're playing Tesho Akindele up top, and I know he scored early on in the Cincinnati game, but that's not working for me. And we're missing DK. Pato's injured. He's had an operation, and so I kind of called that one with the Pato injury as well.
Yeah.
But for me, if DK's going to go, fine, good luck to him. Dead proud of him. Great that he's come to the UK as well. Love that. But that deal needs to be done now, because we need the space on the roster, and we need the wages freed up to go and bring someone else in. We're kind of in limbo at the minute. I don't mind him, going out on loan, but it's kind of, now that Barnsley have made the playoffs, because he's done such a good job, it's kind of left us a bit in the lurch. So I really want to see some strengthening up top if possible.
Yeah, well, you'd think DK will go from Orlando anyway. I'd be very surprised to see him back in MLS or for a prolonged period. He may go back, play a bit of a summer, and then leave anyway. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't help anyone when you've got that, because I don't think it's helping Barnsley and it's helping DK, because he's putting himself in the shop window in England. But I don't think it's helping Orlando.
No, I can only presume the decision to extend the loan, obviously, into the playoffs would have been financially beneficial for Orlando. But just want to see them, we've seen them trade for international spots recently, which suggests they've got someone lined up, but that can't really happen until, the money's come in. So I'm just kind of waiting on that. And the longer we go on without, a striker that I want to see, of a real quality that I want to see, I just think the fact that they're undefeated, I'll kind of take it,
Yeah, as we say, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. However, the more points you get early on with the international tournaments being played in the summer, I know MLS has a month off, but still, players are going to be going and coming back, and it's you'd rather have the points on the board early doors. We mentioned Minnesota early on. They were 2-0 up, lost 3-2 to Colorado. Well done to Colorado, by the way. Great comeback. I want to give a shout out, Minnesota, to Reynoso. There was also a free kick scored in the Portland game. Old school free kicks. We've seen this habit of players like laying behind the wall, and it's maybe instead they should have a defender with another defender on the shoulders, because old school, over the wall, top corner.
I don't know how I feel about Chicharito being the doorstop laying behind the wall. I mean, come on, the guy's had a better career than that. He deserves better than that. But yeah, Reynoso is one of, I think, only 5 players at Minnesota who have started every game. So not only have they not picked up a win yet, but does Adrian Heath know his best side? Is he experimenting and it's not paid off? I mean, aside from Dane Sinclair in goal, I'm just looking now. Sorry, you've got Boxall, you've got Chase Gasper, you've got Metanair and Reynoso and Trapp, and that's it. The rest of the time, so much shuffling going on. I'm starting to look at Minnesota and think, are the wheels coming off? We kind of had them pegged as a team that would strengthen every year, because there was no reason why they'd be worse.
Yeah.
But it's not looking great.
No.
Could easily turn around. Of course it could. But immediately, 4 losses. I don't care. I don't care who you are, whatever coach you are. The people above you are thinking, oh, this isn't good.
No, 10 goals conceded. That's the most in definitely the West, and it's joint worst with Cincinnati in the East, who we mentioned before. They didn't play this weekend, but Cincinnati's form didn't continue. Well, it did continue, but it didn't get better against Orlando the week before. Right, we're going to talk. The final game we're going to talk about is the LA Derby, because I mean it's here in the UK. It is stepped up. It is promoted as the biggest game in MLS. But before we talk about that, Austin FC, a game of 2 halves, we can describe it, against SKC. 1-0 up, but the sending off killed them, didn't it? Yeah,
2 late goals that they conceded, and that will hurt, especially on the road as well. When you think you're going to go to SKC and get a result, I mean, we were talking about Orlando. They got a draw at SKC. It wasn't a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a difficult place to go, that, against a really strong team who were incredible last year. At 1-0 up with 15 minutes to go, they'll have been thinking, yeah, we're in this. We've got this. So to lose the game is going to hurt.
It is, but credit to Austin, because remember, this is only their 4th game.
Yeah.
And they've played very well in each game. They've not got a 100% record, but they've not been outplayed, I don't think, in any game. Well done to them. And they've come into the league in a similar way to LAFC rather than into Miami. So long may it continue for Austin. Finally, then, as I said, it is funny, isn't it? Because when you look at MLS and you look at the games, particularly this weekend, the Portland-Seattle game is a massive game. We understand that because we follow the league. But if you're watching MLS as just a fair weather fan, someone who just turns on Sky Sports here in the UK after the Premier League's finished and go, oh, more soccer, I'll watch that. You are going to be appealed more to LA Galaxy versus LAFC.
Yeah.
This game, yet again, did not disappoint. And Chicharito, he had a week off last week. He didn't score, but he's back in the scoring form this week. And another great finish. Yeah,
so LA Galaxy have scored 8 goals this season. 2 of them, Sacha Kljestan and Dos Santos. Other than that, Chicharito has scored 6. The guy is in insane form. And even taking away the goals, he just looks a different player. If he hadn't scored those 6 goals, all right, we'd be standing here going, oh, he's not scored yet. But he's really, really working hard, to the point where at the end of that game against LAFC, when they just needed to keep the ball, in the last couple of seconds, he got it on the halfway line and he was like, I should probably take this in the corner, but I can't. I've got nothing left. He just booted it forward. You could see Greg Vanney was fuming because the ball then just came straight back. But yeah, what a contrast of a season. And I know he's come out and he's talked about last year and he said, look, it was the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be alone in that. Not just on the field, off the field, mentally, fair play to him for opening up about it. He's certainly not going to be the only person that struggled in the last 12, 15 months during the pandemic. And how great is it to just see him loving life, loving his football, stroke soccer. And LA Galaxy have got something there. They really have. And LAFC struggling without Carlos Vela.
Yeah, Rossi got the goal, which, they've still got Rossi. That is a positive. But, yeah, you're right. It's LAFC, I think, will come good. Hopefully Vela will come back soon and it can really give them that extra edge. But, no, I think LA Galaxy... we're right to talk more about them. I don't see that there's a massive problem with LAFC, to be honest. LA Galaxy, yeah, they've changed so much, and Chicharito in form has been great. The one thing in this game that I loved more than anything was first, again, and I keep mentioning it, but we've had a year without it, the crowd. When LAFC equalised, to hear an away crowd at an MLS game was brilliant. And then when Dos Santos got the winner, the place erupted, and it was brilliant to see and hear. Nashville won again. We didn't mention that, 2-0 against New England. And the last thing I want to say, the King is back. Josef Martinez, he's had a difficult 12 months, but he is back. He's got the goal against Inter Miami. It ended 1-1. Fair result, in my opinion, in the end, but it was so good to see. And I mean, you've got to admit that Martinez, he's good for the league. It was good for the league. Maybe you don't agree as an Orlando fan, but as an MLS fan, it is good to have him back.
Get in.
The MLS UK show.
So before we do another round of the Crisis Right, we need to talk about this because this leaked last night as we record this. So we're recording on the Monday. It leaked last night. Columbus don't want to be called Columbus Crew anymore, so it'll be Columbus SC. They will be called the Crew as a nickname, and the fans will be called the Crew. And anyway, it explains it in the article. But what do you think about this, Elliot?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not here for it.
No.
I'm not hating it just for the sake of hating change. What I don't like is that these teams are like my team, Norwich City FC, 1902, always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Even the badge is basically the same. I know the Bolton badge has changed slightly, but even still not.
Yeah, it's still similar.
Not huge amounts. These teams, even the original teams like Columbus have been there since 1996. I'm older than these teams. And they're already, Columbus going for their third different badge, ditching Crew, which is literally what their whole thing was built upon. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I saw a few things over the weekend saying, this is just to appease the Euro snobs, as they call us. But as MLS fans, we love the names. I hate that new teams come in and it's like Austin FC or Atlanta United or Orlando City. I want the names like Columbus Crew, Seattle Sounders, Portland Timbers, these unique names to MLS.
Orlando Lions would have done for me. I'd have been happy with that.
Yeah. I think it's part of American sporting culture to have these type of names. And it's such a shame that they're dropping it and just going Columbus SC. And we were talking off air before, and I know there's the pre-court kind of links to Crew, and I can kind of understand that sort of a part of it. But at the same time, it's Columbus Crew. The badge, I mean, the rumoured badge, I don't think the rumoured badge is that bad. I've seen a lot worse MLS badges in the last 12 months, let alone ever. But I think it'd be a shame to drop the Crew. People are reacting to it. So whether they'll then go and change it back through public reaction, I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's a shame.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think in terms of, the trying to keep the Crew by saying, it's what the fans will be called and the nickname. No, you named your club Columbus Crew SC. It doesn't sit well with me. And like I say, I'm not against it just for the sake of, voting against change, but for me, don't worry about the Euro snobs. Don't worry about it. You know, we love, all of the original, the OG US names in clubs. So, it's a shame. And like you say, the badge, at least make the badge better. Do you know what I
mean? The only thing I've got to say is that, I mean, if you want to cater to the Euro snobs, kickoff times is, feel free to do it like that. So we're not having to stay up till 3 a.m. But, the actual stuff with team names and stuff, keep it the same. We love it. If I'm actually interested to hear what people think about this, whether you are a Columbus fan or whether you're not. Tweet us at MLS UK Show and tell us if you agree with this, if you don't agree with this, if you're disappointed or if you're excited. Let us know.
Should we do a little game of The Price Is Right?
Yeah, I didn't do well last time, so I'm looking forward to this one. I need to redeem myself.
Okay. Henry Hewitt.
Yeah.
Come on down! I've missed this music. No one else has. So, if you cast your mind back to earlier on this season, Chris Wondolowski got himself sent off, got himself a red card for San Jose Earthquakes, and he's back now, but I thought we'd take a look at the disciplinary record for attackers in MLS last season.
Oh, last season.
Yeah.
Right. I have tried to get last season out of my memory, so I might struggle again at this one.
I'll try and pick an Atlanta player for you. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Let's start with Josie Altidore, who got himself 3 yellow cards, no reds. Higher or lower, Krylach
Oh.
for RSL. Higher or lower?
I think he'd have played more than Altidore, so I'm going to say higher.
It is higher. He got 4 yellow cards.
Oh, only just.
Okay, higher or lower, Kasper Shabilko for Philadelphia Union. Higher or lower than 4 yellow cards?
Higher.
It's lower.
Really?
Only 2. Yeah, he's a friendly ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, higher or lower than 2, Teal Bunbury of New England Revolution. What do we reckon?
He's got higher. Surely.
Higher? Yeah, he got 3 yellow cards. Higher or lower, Lucas Cavallini for Vancouver Whitecaps. I didn't watch much of Vancouver last year.
I didn't. Cavallini seems like a bit of an old school attacker, so I think he'll put himself about a bit. I think higher.
It is higher. It's 7.
7. Told you.
Yellow
He
cards.
seems to, you shouldn't look at a book about his cover, whatever the quote is. But
Don't judge a book by its cover.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But I have, and it's paid off.
Okay. So a couple more. Higher or lower than Lucas Cavallini with 7. Let's go Valentin Castellanos, who we mentioned earlier on the podcast.
Oh, he seems like he'd put himself out a bit as well. But I'm going to say slightly lower.
Wrong. He got 8 yellow cards, and we'll finish with Adam Buxa of New England Revolution. Higher or lower than 8?
Lower.
It is lower. Yeah. It's 5. Yeah. So Castellanos, the most carded player, fouls per 90, 3.3. But yeah, an average performance from you once again.
Getting better though.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, if you've got any ideas for games for The Price Is Right, any stats you want us to test Henry on, let me know at Elliot Holman on Twitter. Just slide into the old DMs.
Right, it's time to have a look at what's happening in MLS this week. But first, we need to look back at our last episode and the last set of predictions. And the reason that I'm pointing us towards this is because I won. I'm 1-0 up in the series.
So it begins.
Now, if you want to play at home, we didn't say this last time, but if you want to play along at home, for each prediction, if you get the right outcome of a match, so you say Atlanta are going to beat Orlando, and we do, you get 5 points. But if you say Atlanta are going to beat Orlando 6-0 and they win 6-0, you get 10 points. And that's how it works. So I won episode 1.
Was it even close?
I think there was about 10 in it, 15 in it. So, no, it wasn't. So before we look at what's happening this weekend in MLS, first of all, I need to say that the MLS UK Show Championship, which is back on the line for this season, if you don't know what this is, it's like wrestling or boxing. It's like a heavyweight title. So every match, the title is on the line. So we start off at the start of every season with the reigning MLS champions, which is Columbus SC. That don't feel right, that. Doesn't sound right.
Columbus Crew.
Yeah, Columbus Crew, because they won MLS Cup, and since then they have not lost. They're unbeaten still. They've drawn against Philadelphia and Montreal, a Club de Foot Montreal, which I'm still getting used to as well. And then they beat DC at the weekend. So if they draw or win, they keep the title. So Columbus have still got it. Now there's matches this week in midweek, our first set of midweek matches, and Columbus will be putting the MLS UK Show Championship on the line. They face Toronto.
I think it's safe.
Do you reckon?
They don't look in a great shape, I'll be honest.
Yeah, anyone playing at Orlando Stadium don't really look in great shape. Other matches this week, we're only going to do predictions for this weekend, but this midweek matches include Miami v Montreal, which Montreal are playing at Miami, aren't they? So that might be a bit weird.
Yeah.
It'd be weird seeing a crowd for Montreal in that stadium. Philadelphia versus New England. These are all Wednesday evening, by the way, so Thursday morning here in the UK. Philadelphia, New England. Houston versus SKC. Minnesota versus Vancouver. San Jose versus Seattle. And then Thursday night / Friday morning is DC versus Chicago. So now we head to the weekend.
Okay. So it starts with New York City against Toronto. Now, I already mentioned earlier that New York, they didn't impress me loads in the game against Orlando.
Shania Twain, don't impress you much.
Yeah, don't impress me much.
No.
However, impressed me more than Toronto, who I think are in a bit of a situation, I'll be honest. I'm going for a New York City win, 2-0.
It's difficult, isn't it, because Toronto would have played before this. So Toronto could easily get some confidence.
I'm just going off what it just didn't look fluid, didn't look switched on. So I just think if that continues, then
I think NYC will win as well. I think it'll be. Although it's funny that this is a local game for Toronto now. You know, the old Toronto.
Yeah.
I think NYC will win. I think it'll be 2-0.
Okay. LA Galaxy versus Austin FC. I feel bad because, as you know, I'm on the Austin train. I'm on board. However, LA just not. They don't even look like they're playing above a 7 at the minute. I think there's still way more to come from them. At home, I think it's a comfortable win. Another couple of goals for Chicha as well, maybe. I'm going to go 3-1.
Do you think that LA Galaxy have just got this sort of new manager / Chicharito bounce?
Potentially, yeah.
Do you think it'll even it? Because we saw against Seattle that it evened itself out a little bit. Do you think that in a few weeks we'll start to see the real LA Galaxy, whatever that is?
Yeah, I want to see the next couple of months. We've talked about how we want to see them kick on and be the Galaxy of old because we've not experienced that since we've been watching MLS. So, a couple of months we'll see where they're really at. But at the minute, there's a few teams, like I mentioned Toronto, that aren't really at it. And I think that's making LA Galaxy maybe look a little bit better, maybe a little bit stronger than some other teams. So we'll see really once we've had a few more games where they're at.
I think it'll be 2-2 this. I think Austin will get a point at LA Galaxy.
Okay.
Early Sunday morning here in the UK, still Saturday night in North America, Atlanta versus Montreal. Atlanta back at home. I think they'll be fine at home. I think it'll be 3-1.
2-2. Going for a draw.
Okay. Philadelphia versus New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, Philly, as we said, only team left in the Champions League. New York Red Bulls looking fairly strong. I've gone for a lot of draws today. I can see this being a draw. 1-1.
I'd love to agree with you, and I do think Red Bulls. I'm enjoying watching them this year, but I think Philly will win. They're back at home. Their home form was so strong last year. I think they'll get it back up and running. I think it'll be 2-0.
Now I'm going to go bold here because the next game is Minnesota versus Dallas. Neither have had a great start.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, law of averages, Minnesota get a win here because they're at home at Allianz Field. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory.
Yeah, the form's got to change at some point, surely. So Minnesota 3-2, I'm going with.
Okay. Colorado play Houston Dynamo. At home for Colorado, I think they potentially sneak this. I'm going to go 1-0.
Yeah, I liked Colorado against Minnesota. I like how they came back. Hopefully for them, being at home, it'll be a bit of a fortress for them. Houston got a good point away at Dallas, but they will be unpredictable this year. So, yeah, I agree. Colorado to win. I think it'll be 2-1.
2-1? Okay. Salt Lake versus Nashville.
I like Nashville. I like watching them this year. I also have enjoyed watching RSL, actually. But I think this will be a draw. I think this will be 0-0, actually.
I was going to go for a draw, but then I thought I've done too many. And you've gone 0-0. I'm going for goals.
Yeah.
I'm going 3-2 RSL.
San Jose versus Portland. San Jose, another team that we didn't expect to do that well.
This will be a great game.
Yeah, they're second in the conference. Go on. What do you think?
I'm going to go... Ooh, it's a tough one, this. I'm going to go 2-1 San Jose.
Portland's come back. Portland will win. I'm going to go 2-1 to Portland.
Kansas City versus Vancouver Whitecaps. I'm picking Kansas all day. I think Vancouver may be a little higher than we expected at the minute. So Kansas City 2-0 win.
Yeah, we're moving into a proper Sunday here. So this is Sunday evening here in the UK. Yeah, it'd be Sunday afternoon in the States. And yeah, SKC at home. Vancouver did well to beat Montreal, but I think I think SKC will win. I think this will be a 4-1 actually.
Cincinnati at home at TQL Stadium.
Yes.
Against Inter Miami. The stadium looks incredible.
I can't wait to see the stadium. I hope for Cincinnati that I hope for the fans that the players perform on the first day.
Yeah.
We saw it a few years ago against DC. They couldn't buy a win, and then they moved stadium. I know Rooney joined at the same time, but when they moved to Audi Field, suddenly they went on this run.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be the same for Cincinnati, because we got on the Cincinnati train, and at the moment it's not left the station yet.
We're on board, but it's derailed.
Go on then. I'm going to say Cincinnati. First game at a new stadium. They'll win 2-1.
I'm going 1-0 win.
New England Revolution versus Columbus
Crew.
What do you think for this one?
I think Columbus win. I can't see this. I can see them starting to, get a little bit stronger, start pulling away a little bit now. So I'm going to go 2-1 Columbus.
2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Monday morning here in the UK. It's 1 a.m, so it'll be Sunday evening in the States. DC versus Orlando.
Neither side are fully at it at the minute. I've got to back my boys, though. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
I think 2-1 Orlando. DC, I don't know. DC struggling. They're still adjusting to a bit of a change. You got to remember, it is a big change, the head coach. So, yeah, 2-1. And finally, 2:30 in the morning here in the UK. Come on, MLS. Seattle Sounders versus LAFC. Seattle win this. What a start to the season it's been for them.
Yeah, 100%. I think they will as well. LAFC, I'm not sold on at the minute. Blackman came in the other day and didn't really perform. Had a bit of a nightmare. I've got to back Seattle here. I think there'll be goals as well. I'm going to go 4-1.
4-1. I was going to say 3-0. So 3-0. But that's it for predictions. Get in touch if you want to play along. Tell us what your predictions are for this weekend at MLS UK Show. Twitter, Instagram. You can email us hello@mls.show, or you can comment on the YouTube video below.
A little bit of news for you.
Yep.
The Get In t-shirt, which you can see to my left if you're watching on YouTube, the purple Orlando City Get In t-shirts are back in stock on the website, getin.clothing. And I've had a few messages from people who have said, are you doing any more?
Yeah, I'm not buying one until we do a different colour.
You don't have to buy one. You can have one.
I'm not going to have one until we get a different colour.
I kind of wanted to throw it out there to see what teams people want, because I'm not going to go and make thousands of Vancouver t-shirts if one person's going to buy
Yeah,
them.
and it is you who's making them.
Yeah, so
You've made a new studio and you've made a sweatshop next door that only you work in.
it is true. I pat them all myself. So I just wanted to throw it out there. I presume you're going to vote for Atlanta.
Of course. I mean, if you look at that, if you watch it on YouTube, look at that, purple and yellow. How good would that look? Nice red, black writing.
Yeah.
That look nice. Yeah.
Okay. Let us know what team you fancy a Get-In t-shirt. What sort of style, what sort of colours you fancy, and we'll kind of tot them up and see what we reckon, see what people are fancying.
Yeah, and you can also Get-In Clothing has its own social media, doesn't it?
It does, and because there's only one t-shirt, I kind of haven't really been across it. Give it a follow, and let us know. Message us. Let us know what teams you fancy, what colours you want, and I promise I'll actually start to post stuff on the account and whet your appetite for some new merch. But when there's only Orlando shirts and most Orlando fans have already bought one, trust me, I had to package them all up. Then I kind of needed something else to post about. So let us know what teams you fancy next.
Yeah, at Get-In Clothing on Twitter. Right, well, that's it for today's show. So before we go, we need to get the game with a changing name.
Yes, so you reckon you know who it is. I'll give you a quick recap. This is a player that played in the UK and in the States. They started their career at Victoria and moved to Olympia. And then the team I omitted was Wigan Athletic.
Ooh.
Played for Wigan on loan 32 times. And then signed for them and made 148 appearances before moving to Hull City. Back to Wigan on loan. Loves Wigan. The only person in the world.
So we can't say that. We'll get Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get Wiganers having a go at us.
Wiganers. And then moved to Colorado Rapids, played 10 games, FC Dallas 70 games, and Houston Dynamo 46 games. It was, of course,
Figueroa,
Maynard Figueroa, who is now at Houston Dynamo. Congratulations if you got it right. And if you've got a player that you want me to do on the game with a change in name, then tweet me, DM me actually, so Henry doesn't see it, at Elliot Holman on Twitter.
Yes, and you can tweet me at Henry_Hewitt. Don't forget the second underscore. Next week, Henry's Guide to North America will return. I want some suggestions of where I should go. I'll give you a list of these are the teams that are still available to choose. So if you want your team or you just want to find out more about this place, then let us know. Okay, so the teams available that I've not done over the course of this series or last are Seattle, San Jose, both LA teams that count as one. Dallas, Houston, New England, Nashville, but they're being kept till last. Montreal, Miami, Toronto, Chicago.
I vote Nashville.
They'll be last. Get in touch, and if you've got a fact about one of those places as well, you can give me the facts. It saves me a job.
Yeah.
Before we go, we of course every week we say leave us a rating. One rule, Elliot.
Has to be LA Galaxy style, 5 stars.
So what we're doing now, though, is, as you heard at the start of the podcast, if you leave us a rating, 5 stars only, and in the comments, you put a certain phrase that we come up with every episode, we will read your rating out on the next episode. So if you just want to have your name read out, or if you've got a podcast or anything that you want to promote, it's a very easy way to do it, because we will definitely read it out. So we had Can I Have One last time.
Can I have one?
What should we have this time?
There's been a lot of train talk in this episode. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I've just started saying, I'm on the Cincy train, I'm on the Minnesota train. So maybe on board.
On board? That sounds good to me, yeah.
On board. So in your rating, use the word on board. Let's sneak it in there. It's a little insiders club, isn't it? And thanks to soccer90.com, our sponsors, we will be giving away a shirt of your choosing, anything from the Soccer90 website, to somebody who does one of these ratings, these 5-star ratings. So this is all part of hashtag for the fans because it's season 4. So we're doing for the fans. Everything that we make from this podcast, we want to give back. So let's get somebody a free shirt thanks to soccer90.com. So leave us a rating, 5 stars, and sneak a little on board in there.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube as well, and click the notification bell because that'll tell you whenever we drop a new video. But for this episode, that's it.
Yeah, I'll say get in.
And I'll say see ya.